Let's talk about calling functions. Before now, we've been using two functions to be precise. The main you're seeing here is a function because it has the word fun. Functions have the word fun. And the print ln you've been seeing is also a function. So in this video, we're going to learn how to create our own function. So I'm going to do that just at the top here. So to start, use the word fun followed by the name of our function. So I'm going to call this function greets, and I'm going to put in my two parentheses, and I'm going to hit like this. I'm going to put in the function body, which is a two curly brace. And now I want it to return something, but first of all, let's work with this first, then later we'll talk about function that returns something. So this is a function. Functions like this are called void functions. Okay, it's because they don't return anything, so they're called void functions. But then in calling, to actually specify, you can actually explicitly tell calling that you want to work with void functions by using the word units like this. So units is saying that, hey, this function is a void function and doesn't return anything. Don't worry about these two slashes I just added here. I will explain what it means later. So these are functions and it's returning in units, but if you hover on it, this says that redundant unit return type, meaning that not needed because the function is a void function. It's not really needed, though units means void, but it's redundant. So now we can create this function and make it print something for us. I'm going to say val ini. Sorry, I am going to call this greeting, and it is going to be called hello there, like this. Now I'm going to print ln. I'm going to print out greeting. Oops, not greet, sorry, greeting. In here, for it to actually make the function work, you need to call it inside with the main function. So this is great, like this. I'm going to run this. So as you can see, it says hello there. I mentioned earlier that you can pass in a unit, telling the function that this will be a void function. Now in calling, this is also what we call type inferences. We did it with variables when we explicitly give it a type and then it complained, and we had to remove the type out. So it's the same thing with functions. It supports type inferences also. Now this is a void function. I'm going to create a function that actually returns, let's say this is going to return an int. Now once I give it a return type, it will underline the last curly brace saying that it needs to return something, and the thing it needs to return is not a string because it's going to give an error because we are telling it to return an int. So here we can return 1 2 3 4 or 1 2 3 1 2 2 3. Then I'm just going to code this inside of here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a val call num. This is going to be a number 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Now I'm just going to return the number here because this is an int, so I didn't give it a type. Calling automatically detected from the value that this is an int, so now I can return this. Inside the main function, I can go ahead and print it out. It didn't run anything. Why? Oh, that is because we have to put this in a print statement, in a print function. So I'm going to put this method inside of another method for it to print out. So Yes, correct. So another thing with function is functions have arguments or parameters, and the arguments is this is where we put the argument or parameters inside of it. And let's say now we want to greet someone, but then we just don't want to greet hello, we want to type the greeting ourselves when we are calling out the method. Okay, so here what I'm going to do is I'm going to first of all remove this and make this a void function. I'm going to give it a value, so I'm going to call this greeting, and this I'm going to give it an argument, so this will be a type of string. So this is just going to print out, this is going to print out the greeting, and then plus is going to be the greeting plus the name, the actual name. So this is going to be greeting plus my name. In here now I'm going to supply the arguments I pass in here. So this just needs a string, so I'm going to type in a literal string. This is what we call a literal string. Normally I would have just assigned it to a variable, say here greet, and this will be equals to hello, and I'm going to put in the hello here. But I can decide to type in the literal string inside of here. So this is what we call string literal. Sorry about this. I'm going to take this off like this. So I'm going to run this, and it's still going to print out hello plus my name. Yeah, so it says hello plus my name. And there's another thing I want to talk about. This plus here is called concatenation in Kotlin. It's used to join two things together. But instead of using concatenation, there's something in Kotlin called string templates, and I'm going to use that here. So I will call this greet, and this will be equal to something called the greeting, which is a variable here. But first, let me put in the name first. This is called the greeting. I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to use string templates like this. So instead of using concatenation, we can use string template to join two strings or any other thing together like this. So use the $sign and then the variable you want to pass in. Now I'm still going to print this out, and it's still going to print out the same thing. Yes, so hello in hood. And I can make these multiple values, which means I want to pass in the greeting myself and the name myself. So I need to add another parameter here, and this is going to still be a type of string. And I can add another parameter here, which is going to be called ish, and this is going to be a return type of an int, or a type of an int. So when we want to greet, this is going to say hello in hood arts. So it says hello in hood, and I have my name already, so I'm going to remove this out and use string templates like this. So hello ini, and this is going to say arts 30, but I'm not typing the 30. I'm going to use the arguments here, which be like this. So it's going to say hello ini. Now in here now I will need to supply the argument. So this is already printing ini, and there's no need to use the print statement here again. This is already printing it out. So in here I'll just call the method alone. And the first argument we need to put in is the greeting. So I'm going to say hello, The second argument we need to put in is a name, so I'm going to say name. The third argument we need to put in is an int, so I'm going to say 30. So when I run this, yeah, this should say hello neighborhood at 30. A function can also return nothing, which means we can do like this, type nothing with a question mark. And once you do that, you need to write the return keyword. I'm just going to return a null, which is nothing. And I can also return a string type of null. So this is going to return a string type of null. And instead of returning a type of null, just returning null, I'm going to put the print statement out. I'm going to return a greet like this. Now, if you return a greet, because greet is not null, greet has a value. So once you do that, you see that that is going to give you a warning here, this question mark, because what this means is that your function, you are telling it that your function will return a null type of string, but then your function is no longer returning a null type of string, rather it is returning a string with a value. So there's no need to put this question mark again. So we're just going to take that out, and this is still going to print out something for us. I'm going to put this inside a print statement, print lm like this, and I'm going to run this. So it just says hello in at 30. Now another thing Kotlin is very good at is reducing the amount of code you write. So which means in a function we can write a function as a single expression. Now what I mean is that you can do something like this. I'm not going to return something here again, and I'm going to take this return statement out, and I'm going to make this function a single expression. I'm going to take the body out, and I'm just going to say equal to, remove the val, and also take away the greet also. So now this is a function now as a single expression. As you can see, we can still add a return type into this. So I'm just going to do this. This is going to return a string, and this is still going to return this. And if you like, we can omit it out like this. Like I should print this out. This is still going to work as it did before. Code says hello neighborhood at 30. And we can still make it print something as well. So I'm going to take this out, cut it out here, and I'm going to say print. Oops, so this will be equal to print, and then like this. I'm going to paste this inside of it. So if I should run this function is going to print, but we have to remove it inside another print statement here. So I'm going to cut it like this and run it, and yeah, we still get the same thing.